In the search for the most intelligent person of all time, you come across Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, Isaac Newton, and many other well-known names from science. There is reason to believe this because of their works. If you dig a little deeper, you notice that names like Leonhard Euler, Carl Friedrich Gauss, or Srinivasa Ramanujan are not mentioned as often, even though they also made incredible discoveries that made average people think there must have been supernatural abilities involved. In the case of Ramanujan, for example, intelligence was expressed in a very strange way, leading to the conclusion that the human brain can function in a completely different way. Or you take the easy way out and believe him when he said that another being dictated the formulas to him. If you rely on assessment by intelligence quotient, then you have to say that for most of these geniuses, it was never actually measured, but only estimates exist. For example, Leonardo da Vinci's intelligence quotient was estimated at 220. For comparison, the intelligence quotient of an average person is between 85 and 115. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe's was estimated at 210. If you really want to know, the highest recorded intelligence quotient is 230, and that's held by the 47-year-old Australian mathematician Terence Tao. Interestingly, outstanding intelligence often seems to show itself in mathematics. Similarly, Terence Tao was so advanced in mathematics by age 9 that he attended university lectures. What makes him special is that he is a very versatile mathematician with achievements in a wide variety of fields. But in this video, it's about a person who apparently for over 120 years is still unmatched. This person was forgotten for a long time. The German author Klaus Caesar Zerath researched this person's life intensively and wrote it down in a novel called The Genius. William James Sidis was born in New York in 1898 as a child prodigy with incomparable abilities. He is only 18 months old when he starts reading newspapers. At the age of 4, he reads Caesar and Homer in the original. At the age of 6, he writes his 4th scientific book. By the time he was 8 years old, he is said to have taught himself Latin, French, Greek, Russian, Turkish, German, Hebrew, and Armenian. He also invented his own universal artificial language. He completed the 7-year elementary school in just 7 months and high school in only 3 months. At the age of 11, he began studying at Harvard University, setting a new record as the youngest student ever. He gained nationwide attention when not long after, he was already giving lectures on 4-dimensional bodies at the Harvard Mathematical Club. At just 12 years old. Norbert Wiener, who was also at the university at the time, knew William and was himself a child prodigy and founder of cybernetics, reported the following about this extraordinary ability. The lecture would have done credit to a student in their 1st or 2nd year, regardless of age. The lecture represented the triumph of the unsupported efforts of a very brilliant child. Furthermore, Massachusetts Institute of Technology professor Daniel F. Comstock said about him, Carl Friedrich Gauss is the only example among all child prodigies in history to whom Sidis can be compared. I predict that young Sidis will become a great astronomical mathematician. He will develop new theories and invent new ways to calculate astronomical phenomena. I believe that he will be a great mathematician who will be a leader in this science in the future. But how did his life actually continue? Why does this video have to tell you about William first? Why didn't he become as famous as Einstein or Da Vinci? And now we come to the really interesting point. His later life showed that intelligence can become a curse. Apparently, the crucial thing was William's parents. They deliberately raised William to be a genius. William was almost like an educational experiment. William was born as the son of Russian immigrants. His mother, Sarah Mandelbaum, was a doctor. His father, Boris Sidis, was an intelligent psychiatrist. Education was everything to him. He spoke many languages and wrote remarkable contributions in the field of psychopathology and abnormal psychology. With his son William, he wanted to show the world that you can consciously raise a child to be a genius. Since birth, William was trained using the Sidis method. It could be applied to any child. Intelligence had nothing to do with heredity. He had started training the child while still in the cradle. Instead of singing lullabies, Greek myths were read aloud. He was instilled with a love of learning. The father was knowledgeable about hypnosis and suggestion on a scientific basis and applied this to his child. They spent a lot of money on books, maps, and so on, and systematically filled him with knowledge. Early on, they were able to talk with William about advanced topics. They often published academic articles about William's achievements. What good is all this if people eventually want to fight against it? William couldn't lead a normal life. He experiences this clearly when he works as a mathematics lecturer in Texas after his graduation. He is mocked and teased by students who were older than him, even though he had even written a textbook on Euclidean geometry in Greek for them. The media was full of William, often in a defamatory way. That bothered him. He said the only way to live a perfect life is to live in seclusion. I've always hated crowds. He tried studying law, but dropped out as well, despite his exceptional intelligence. At 16, he began to rebel against his destiny. He became a member of a communist movement and was arrested for inciting rebellion. With his parents' help, he was released again. Instead, he had to stay for a year in his father's sanatorium. They tried to re-educate him and threatened to send him to a mental institution. He spends the rest of his life working poorly paid jobs. He refused any job that reminded him of the person his parents wanted him to be. He managed to live without fame for a while, changed his name often, and wrote many books. At the age of 46, he died of a brain hemorrhage. He left behind many writings. By 1925, he had already developed the theory of black holes, among other things. Long before their discovery, some believe that countless books by him exist, which remained hidden under a false identity. We know how important raising a child is, but it also seems that there are naturally intelligent people, since there are enough examples of scientists whose upbringing was not particularly supportive. The question then is how much this intelligence is nurtured throughout the rest of life. Perhaps very intelligent people have remained hidden because the circumstances were not right. William's father's methods certainly contributed a lot to William's development. But who would turn their child into an experiment? Would the world really have become a better place if the Sidis method had prevailed as Boris Sidis wanted? Could it be that somewhere in the world, children are still being raised this way? Whether it's kindergarten, schools, or institutes, could this be the future of the capitalist system? Even though intelligence quotient assessments are controversial, William's intelligence quotient is estimated to be between 250 and 300. However, history shows that intellectual education alone is not enough. A happy person has many components. Intelligence is just one. We are not made up of zeros and ones, and we are not here just to advance science. William was supposed to function as the system wanted, but his soul had to starve. That was the point that was obvious, but was ignored by most people at the time. What an irony of fate that the deliberate upbringing to become a genius ultimately did not lead to success, but rather to a pitiful life. Thank you very much.